Just a few hundred yards from the Ukraine-Poland border here in Medyka, we can see all kinds of support mechanisms being put in place for those fleeing the violence in the Ukraine-Russia war. Shoes, clothes, children's soft toys as well. You can see just behind me as well, we've got medical services and medical aid stations for people who have had long, arduous journeys, exhausting journeys to get across the border. We've been speaking to people who have been walking mile upon mile, kilometre upon kilometre in order to get to the Polish borders. Some have friends on this side of the border. They know what their plans are. Many are still waiting for family members trying to cross the border as well. But we can see also here a huge amount of support in terms of food being handed out to people and a vast amount of drink and water as well. For those many refugees who have just come over the border after their long, exhausting journeys. We spoke to Olga from Kiev, who had just made the 635-kilometre journey to the border from the Ukrainian capital. She outlined just what families are going through to make it to safety.
Yeah, condition is really hard because a lot of people, everybody want to escape. A lot of people with children, they are walking. I was walking with my family either 30 kilometers to the border, and after that we were staying in the queue traffic of people around 24 hours.
One of the biggest problems and why we're only seeing a trickle on this side of the border is the fact actually that a lot of families just can't get through without proving their identity. There is visa-free access between Poland and Ukraine, but you have to show your papers, and that is meaning that the vast number of people waiting on the other side of the border, the miles and kilometres of queues, they're just having to wait and have a very slow, arduous process in order to get through the border. But at least some people, it appears, are managing to catch up with relatives on this side of the border. The UN believes that if the war were to intensify, then 5 million Ukrainians could be displaced. Already by Sunday afternoon, the UNHCR Refugee Agency estimates over 368,000 Ukrainians had fled the country. I spoke to the UN's Chris Meltzer.
Actually, we still think that the biggest crisis will be inside the Ukraine, because most of the people will be internally displaced persons. But of course, there are already 150,000 or even more people outside of Ukraine, and there will be more without any doubt.
As the severity of the fighting in Ukraine intensifies, there are great fears that an exodus from the war, being measured at the moment in thousands, could tragically be measured in millions here in Europe within coming days. Steve Sedgwick, CNBC, at the Poland-Ukraine border.